All right, what's going on, everyone? Thanks everyone for coming by for the live airing of what's going to be STG Weekly episode 179 on Danmaku Unlimited 2, Literal Bullet Curtain Fire Unlimited 2. It's going to be an epic episode, and I'm going to be co-hosted here by Soft Drink. It's Aqua's here, and yeah, what's up, Soft Drink?
Hey. Pleasure to be here.
And our guest and player of some of the replays we'll be watching is AlvaLynsis, who we'll just refer to as Alva during the episode. So, Alva, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right.
And you have the current world record that we're going to be viewing for burst mode, right?
Yes.
That's going to be pretty cool.
That's right, guys. We got world record player here to reassure us that we also can score the game and whatnot. So yeah, that's actually epic. So thanks again for coming on, and yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out. So Danmaku Unlimited, it's just very basically it is a bullet hell shmup. Does have the vertical orientation, and it is an indie shmup, meaning it had probably just one or very small team. I'm not exactly sure what the team was like, but a lot of people seem to enjoy the series. Actually has a third game out now, but we will be doing the second one. And so, Alva, would you want to give us a little quick breakdown of kind of what this game's like? Maybe if we want to compare it to any other cave games, perhaps, or anything like that.
No, so what I can say is that the game is in no way like Danmaku Unlimited 3. I cannot compare it to the first one because I've never played it. So this is Danmaku Unlimited 2 on the Steam. It also has there's also a mobile version of the game. Danmaku Unlimited 1 is only on mobile, so that's why I never got into contact with it.
Right.
The music of the game was made by BLANKFIELD in the second and the third one.
Yeah, I haven't heard of BLANKFIELD before. Apparently, people like the soundtrack though quite a bit, from what I gather.
Yeah. Personally, I do like it as well.
So, would you compare it to any certain cave games or like Toho, or can you make a comparison like that, or is it kind of doing its own thing?
I wouldn't compare it to a cave game. It doesn't have like grounded enemies or ceiling or anything like that. It does have like the bosses are more like they would be in a Toho game, I would say. So it's not strictly like a cave game. I wouldn't compare it to that, but others do, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, so why don't we learn a little bit about you, Alva? What got you into playing Danmaku Unlimited 2, and what other shmups are you quite fond of, or have you done scoring runs of, if any?
So before I played Danmaku Unlimited 2, I think I was only playing Toho games. But the reason, I played this game. This is like the first game that I played seriously, and the main reason for that is because there's a Steam achievement for getting 1 trillion points, and that's like the first time I ever grinded runs in a shmup.
Wow, that's awesome! That the Steam achievement was what was the push for you, like, and you became a record holder for the game, like. Really
so
goes
that's
to show.
like
Yeah.
That's like 3 years ago, and I always knew that the scoring potential was much higher, but I also knew that what it would mean to get the score. You'll see why it's not the best thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, it was more like you had the idea of maybe showing up on the episode, and then you're like, hang on, I think I can do a better run, and then if like 2 or 3 days later you had the world record. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it because I wasn't sure if my calculations were going to be accurate, because the training would not provide like information that was totally reliable for me to guess if I was going to beat the 67 trillion record by Fyazu on the Steam leaderboard. But in the end, it did beat that score.
Very cool. And so getting back to your history a bit, you said you first played this game like 3 years ago. And then more recently, you've been playing a bit of Daifukatsu and Daifukatsu Black Label, right?
Well, yeah, I've been playing that like for many years. It's pretty much the only cave game that I really play seriously.
Okay.
Cool. Nice. Good to learn a little bit about you there. Why don't we get a quick breakdown of like how the two different modes and the difficulties are? What are they like? And if you want to, we could even get into some of the stuff that we see on the game screen. Not sure if you want to just jump into the power up video now, or just so we can get a taste of what we're going to be getting into here.
I would definitely start with the upgrade system for now, because that's like the first thing you encounter anyway.
Okay. So I'll just I could do a countdown for us to do this to watch this video, but I will be looping it as you instructed. So we're gonna just learn the upgrade system here.
Cool.
All right, so I'll just do a quick countdown on that, so we're just synced up on that. It's just a 32-second loop, and yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so this is the menu for the upgrade system. What you'll notice first is that there's actually a bit of a grind in the game first. You'll gain points somehow by playing the game. I don't know what the exact metric works like, but after this pretty much assumes that you have maxed it out and reached the max rank, or the highest point count that you have available, which is 1,400. Yeah, so what you can upgrade with these points is the focus. You can upgrade 3 offensive. You can upgrade 3 offensive things, or just upgrade your defense. You can upgrade your forward shot. You can add a tracking shot, or you can add a wide shot. The ADS is a shield. The lives are the amount of ships you have, and the continues, which you'll hopefully never use because, it resets your score, of course.
Interesting. So do you get the skill points from scoring well, or do you just get a set amount of those after each stage, or how does that work?
I wish I knew. I just grind, and then that, it doesn't even take that long to max it out.
So what do you mean grind? For the individual run, or before your run even takes place?
No, I mean you gain the points. It'll upgrade that. After every run, you'll see that you get points, and eventually you'll reach the next level, and then you'll have more points to spend on this upgrade thing.
Okay, so you just kind of get the points and you spend them. Fair enough.
Yeah, not much behind that system that I would be willing to explain, because I don't even know anything about it really.
Can you also scale down from the defaults? Can you take ADS to 0 or lives to 0 or continues to 0 in order to gain
No, that's a minimum of 1.
Okay.
So the offenses range from a default of 0 to 3, and the ADS, lives, and continues from a default of 1 to 5.
And then does this have any kind of impact on the way the scoring works? Or is this purely just powering you up and putting you at an advantage for your runs?
This is only powering you up. However, I will be using wide shot for scoring advantage.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. Well, let's start jumping into these replays. So the first one we're going to be checking out is the classic mode with the extreme difficulty. I'm assuming extreme is the hardest difficulty.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the 1.1 trillion scoring run from Pazzy. Some may know in the community. So why are we going to start with Classic? And why don't you tell us a little bit about Classic before we get into the run?
Yeah, so the two modes that this game does have are Classic and Burst. Burst provides you with the ability to fire a burst laser, and Classic doesn't. Of course, there's more differences than that, but that's the basic survival difference you'll notice at first. What Classic does compensate you with is by having stronger shot power and the ability to focus and move slower.
So you don't have a focus movement in Burst?
Technically you do, but you wouldn't ever want to use it because it would prevent you from shooting. It's basically useless.
Interesting. Okay.
So those are the main differences? It seems kind of minor. I don't know.
There's more.
Okay.
Like, there's some like minor stuff that does have impact, especially when it comes to the scoring.
So there's a couple of good questions coming from chat here. First of all, Mariano Tekken is asking, does this game have a no-miss score bonus?
It doesn't have a no-miss score bonus, but you will want to no-miss in order to score.
Okay. And then Lamisar is asking, are there point extends, or do you only come in, like, do you have to do the whole run with the number of lives you come in with?
Yeah, that's all you have. There's no score extends, no extends at all. If you have 3 lives and a continue, and well, you lose all of your lives and continue, you will also have those 3 lives again. So those are just the default values you have. Those are just settings, but integrated in an upgrade system.
Okay, well, I think we can just start getting to the Extreme Classic run, and you can run us down with what the hell we're looking at exactly, to the best of your ability. And Softdrink and I will, and the chat, of course, we'll all learn and check out the run and see what this game's all about. So I'm pretty hyped. Hell yeah! So I'll do a countdown on go in just a moment. We'll watch Pazzy's Extreme Classic 1cc run of 1.1 trillion. I had another video running here. Oops. Okay. So I'll count us down then. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so the upgrade settings that Pazzy used for his run is focus, boosting focus by 3, boosting his shield by 2, so that he has 3 shields, and boosting his lives by 2, so that he has 3 lives. The 3 lives are the hexagons at the top left. Yeah, that's basically your life count.
Okay.
Below that, you'll immediately see all of the scoring factors. That's pretty much all the scoring factors you need. So you have the stage multiplier, which is the blue value there, which is like 45x right now. Below that you have the grace counter, which, well, it's a grace counter, which determines the base value of the point value below. I say base value because you can increase the point value, but that won't happen on stage 1. You'll probably also notice that there's another like very gray value below that, but I'll get into that later because it's not like noticeable on stage 1. So one thing that's already different in this mode compared to burst is that if you use your trance, which is the thing you charge on the right side of the screen, if you use trance and destroy enemies, they will cancel all of their bullets. That is classic and exclusive and does not happen in burst. So another thing Pazzy does here is to keep the popcorn enemies on the top left alive in order to get more grace, because they will just keep shooting before they leave for a rather long amount of time.
Okay.
So what is the Trance Gauge? Is that basically your hyper, or?
It's pretty much a hyper mechanic. What it does is, just survival-wise, it will increase the amount of damage you do. It will also turn all the blue stars you see there, you'll instead get yellow stars. Unfortunately, when it comes to scoring, all of those stars seem to me to be rather insignificant. Even though the tutorial says that you collect big gold stars for big score. That has not been true in my experience.
So then what does the score come from?
Destroying enemies.
Okay. That's simple enough.
It's simple, but it's... Yeah. There's like 5 factors involved in like determining the score you get.
Yeah. So I noticed you're like trying to get close to the enemy here. So that's what's helping you bring the stage counter up. So how do you increase that big number and get bigger scores and whatnot?
Right. So for lack of better terms, I will have to come up with some own terms in order to define like what some things are, because the game simply does not provide enough terminology, in my opinion. But all of those gray items, I like to call them like multiplier crystals. You get them in this mode, you get them by point blanking enemies and destroying them. So shooting them and destroying them while being very close. They will increase your stage multiplier by 0.1 I mean, in classic mode. In burst mode, they will actually increase it by less than 0.1. So you see the trance is now active. If you now pay attention to the TM, which is most likely supposed to be called the trance multiplier, you can see that there's a 48 now. So what happened is that a fraction of his previous stage multiplier got added to the TM. That fraction is 1/4 on extreme difficulty. It's always, the fraction is always like smaller on lower difficulties. But on extreme, it's 25%. So 25% of his previous stage multiplier got added to the TM. So the TM is now 48. What the trance multiplier does is that during trance, your point value will be increased by set value. So every time Pazzy will now activate his trance, that point value will be higher.
And
or specifically multiplied by 48.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask. Okay. And then that's still applied on top of the stage multiplier, or is it only getting the trance multiplier?
On top of that.
Wow. Okay, so that's very, very geometric then. Like you want to be building up that trance multiplier kind of as high as you can, and then killing things in trance for score. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, even though this is kind of getting ahead, you can see that you will now often have to make a decision on whether you want to graze bullets or destroy enemies for more crystals. So this is less of an issue in this mode, but it will be a big issue in burst.
Okay. And what's the advantage of grazing bullets? Like, how does that factor into the score?
All right. So the base value right now is 25,400. The base point value is just the grace value, but multiplied by 16.
Okay. So it directly increases the base value for every bullet.
The base value is directly tied to the grace value.
You can see them both go up at the same time. Oh. but then that trance thing got lobbed in there.
Exactly.
And being in
Okay.
trance also seemed to raise the base value. Is that what you were saying? Is that where the multiplier comes in, or
Well,
is that something else?
I wouldn't call that the base value anymore. I would just say that the base value is grace times 16. Personally, I like to call the value you get while in trance the trance value.
Okay.
The value during, but that's really just my own terminology in that case. So another thing that just happened is when Pazzy activated his trance, all the bullets around him got turned into the multiplier crystals, which is also a way to, of course, increase the stage multiplier and thus the trance multiplier for the upcoming stages.
Okay.
Someone asked how similar is the scoring system to the third game. It's not at all similar. It's like very different. Because there's no chaining in this game. As in, there's no chain that can run out. And this game also has like not stage individual scoring, but you score over the course of the entire game.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
noticing
your
that.
entire
Play is elevated.
scoring. Yeah, your entire scoring progress is like going on until the end.
So I
Well, I
imagine
say that
you're.
I say that, but you can get those values reset, and the game is very punitive with those.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, if you die, does it reset those counters?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, let's go through the progress of what's going to happen if you get hit. If you get hit, you will of course lose a shield unless you're in trance. If you're in trance, your trance will just get cancelled. So if you get hit, your grace counter will be reduced to 0.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might as well just restart the run.
You're playing for score. Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
If you lose a shield, which would require you to not be in trance while getting hit, your stage multiplier will also be halved. And if you die, your trance multiplier will be reset to 1.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
So
kind of
the-
mean.
Yeah, that's why you pretty much, if you want to go for a very high score, you just don't want to get hit at all.
So how does that shield mechanic work?
Yeah, so the shield mechanic, yeah, there's actually something to that, is that when you get hit, you lose a shield. Right now, Pazzy has 3 shields. The shield is on the left side of the screen, the meter there.
That's the ADS system gauge, or
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Exactly. So one thing that can actually happen is if you get hit twice in a row too fast, you'll die immediately because it takes a while for the shield system to be active again.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
That
not
was
so
also
bad
a very
then.
Yeah, that was really close.
yeah, that was like the scariest way to activate a trance while being very close to a bullet. Funny enough, it will happen in my run as well.
That section looked pretty tricky. It was a really interesting cutback there.
This pattern, he pretty much has a probably a very consistent route for this. The thing is that one thing that does take away a lot of challenge from this game is the fact that it's a very static game. I have yet to encounter any instance of randomness in this game.
Oh, really? None
Yes.
at all.
None.
Wow.
So of course this is very abusable for some patterns. For others, you still have to dodge because there's enough happening to keep you moving. But there will be a pattern where I abused its static nature simply because the pattern would be way too annoying otherwise. And we'll see that pattern on the next stage. This is also funny what Pazzy's doing here is because there's actually a safe spot where you don't have to move at all.
Oh,
These
snap.
hexagons cancel any bullets from enemies. The thing is, the hitbox of canceling bullets is way bigger than the hitbox of hitting you. So there's a line at multiple heights at which you can just stand still and have the hexagons cancel bullets for you,
Nice.
while the hexagons will not hit you.
So like he's actually dodging that there, but you don't even have to. You just line it up right and you're good.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. So question from Lamastar. Why did he come in with 3 shields and 3 lives if all his scoring is based around, never getting hit? What advantage does it give him to have those upgrades in place for this round?
Probably just getting clear, because the TLB is actually relentless, like merciless.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. End of Dreams. A cool name.
I don't know if I missed it, but I think there's a very, very, very scary cutback that's gonna be happening here on this stage. Oh yeah, it's coming up.
There was a pretty scary cutback in the last stage, so this
here.
one is worse.
This is it. There it is.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a little tight.
Okay, so right now you can see that the point value is 6 million something. There's a cap to the point value, which is 10 million minus 1. Now, I don't think Pazzy will reach that cap in this run, but you will most likely reach it on stage 5 if you do just a little bit of enough decent grazing and canceling. Or rather, sorry, I keep saying canceling. That's what you do in burst mode, not in this mode. Point blanking.
Okay.
Right. So this upcoming pattern is the one that where I use the static nature of the game, so I don't have to dodge this, because this is very scary. The one with the hexagons.
The hexagon spirals? Yeah, that looks kind of... It doesn't look too bad from a distance, but I can totally imagine how when you're playing that, it's really disorienting.
Yes. So I guess this is a good time to bring up the next factor, which is that every time an enemy is destroyed, or almost every time, you'll see another value popping up and going down, which is that's what I call the proximity multiplier, because, well, it's higher the closer you are to the enemy.
Oh, wow.
So it ranges from 1 to 16. Fun fact, due to the font, I used to think it was 76, not 16.
So wait, where's that number coming up?
It's really small.
Unfortunately, and this is really bad for routing the game, because you can't really tell what multiplier you're getting, but it's pretty much at the lowest layer of the graphics of the game, aside from the background.
Oh yeah, so it's under all the explosions and stuff.
Yes, and that's not a good thing when you're routing the game. So this is the last time we'll see the hexagons, but this is still nasty. This is way easier in burst than it is in classic. But you're pretty much using the hexagon shields from the one enemy to dodge the other enemy's bullets, and also those purple bullets were very, very scary. The last ones.
It's pretty cool.
That's kind of neat that you can use one enemy to block the bullets from the other one.
Yeah, this formation will only happen twice, and it will be on the other, inverted order. So no, this is not yet the pattern, but this boss has a very, very bad pattern, which fortunately Pazzy will actually not have to deal with, because you deal more damage in classic, which is a very good advantage for some patterns, because there are occasional patterns in this game where just all of a sudden you have to dodge something that's very, very uncomfortable and not very reasonable either, which is this. There was about to be a lot of bullets spawn that circle around you. We'll see that next time, because I actually mess up my route on that pattern for no good reason either. So there's another way to score in the game, which is not that big, but it's, in my experience, the second best way to score in the game, which is merely damaging enemies. So damaging enemies or bosses rather, while in trance is actually kind of good. Oh, yeah. Pazzy took a hit. 0 points.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
This pattern is also scary. Of course, it is static. The game is static, but it's so easy to not be quick enough in your movements so that you end up in a very bad position. Mm-hmm. It's actually one of the most complicated patterns in the game. This pattern is just annoying to deal with, honestly. So of course, he now has to start the entire point progress again. He still has the TM, so it's not all gone. He can still score.
Yeah.
But there's so much potential gone. So much potential is now wasted. And just not voided from his scoring.
So now when he's doing trance in this stage, he's not going to be getting that additional factor from each trance.
Took a hit again.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate streaming. I watched that multiple times, and only on the third time I could actually see the bullet that hit him, because it was so close to the other bullets that would pass him.
Yeah.
It was very unfortunate the way it happened. But back to the question, you can still, the trance will still multiply. But as long as you don't lose your ship, the trance multiplier will still happen.
Oh.
It's just the very base value that's now tiny.
I think I understand.
In classic mode, this part is a lot better with these big ships. This is the most routing heavy part of the game in my opinion.
Yeah, this looks pretty intense.
Because you actually lose a lot of space that you can move in.
Yeah, definitely.
This upcoming part isn't much better. However, if you do have a route, it's very consistently doable, of course. But if you play it for the first time, you will be overwhelmed.
Can you collide with those enemy ships?
Not with the entirety of it, but yes, there is a part of it that you can collide with.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
I can't just fly over them completely willy-nilly.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you don't know the hitbox, of course you'll be too intimidated to try.
Yeah. The fact that you can fly over part of it, but not over other parts of it. Maybe this is just the recording, but it seems like there's not a visual distinction for which parts you can and can't hit. So that's not great.
All you have is your own shots colliding with the enemy to tell where it starts.
Okay.
This boss has a very uncharacteristically bad as fast pattern, which of course you also don't have to really deal with in classic. But in burst, you will want to use your laser in order to survive.
Cool bullet patterns.
Yeah, the patterns look really neat.
That was actually that second pattern, that second phase of that mid boss is also you can just stay at one spot. You don't have to move.
Okay.
So there will things like that will occasionally just be in the game. However, to defend the game, the final boss, the 5th stage boss, is actually very nerve-wracking.
Oh no, he took a hit again.
Yep. He also has no shield left anymore, so once he gets hit, he'll also lose his ship, and thus all of what he had left of the progress he had made.
Is there any way to build back up the shield bar, or does it just stay down?
Oh, it stays down. There's no way to recharge.
Oh,
okay.
When you go into trance, it doesn't make the enemies more violent or anything, does it?
No.
Okay.
There's nothing like that. There's no rank at all.
Cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Because they look like when you use trance back there, it's just like the enemies like flooded in, but no, like that section's just intense.
Yeah, that's just a good place to trance because, of course, you will want to defeat enemies in order to score. So those heavy sections are like the best places to use your trance.
Those trance cancels are clutch. Looked like he wasn't going to make it out of that, but he had the cancel ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks satisfying.
This is sick. I like that there's just a shitload of the tiny enemies. Like, that's some good feedback. Destroying all of them. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, this is also the part where I get like 70% of my score.
Hold on, I gotta turn up the stream bitrate. This is getting crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Because you have so many small enemies, and at this point, if you haven't died or taken a hit, your values are going to be so high.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
this
like
is exactly.
now.
This is pretty much what it all leads up to. This part
Oh shit.
that we just saw.
That's dope.
Yeah, so this is the stage 5 boss. This boss is funny because it's like I feel like every phase takes like a lot longer than many other phases on other bosses do. Except for like there's actually like a distinction of kinds of phases where the background will be different and it will kind of function like a spell card where if you do it flawlessly without getting hit, you will get extra points. Of course, the extra points are like insignificant as far as I can tell. But it's still it's still there.
Whoa, that was a dodge.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, this is like
Pucker
this
up.
game. This this boss pretty much has the most uncomfortable patterns, and thus it's like very scary to be in when you don't want to get hit at all in
Dude.
the run.
The fucking waves.
Oh yeah, this is a. I also want to point out something that is only true for this boss and for none other is that it has some patterns with bullets with a very special property, which is that you cannot cancel them. At least you can't do so in classic. It's it's like a very specific thing. Yeah, this is the pattern I showed you where it looked like I should have been hit, but it's actually not the case because all of the bullets are like massive upon being spawned, but just their sprites.
Fun.
So just staying at the center will be safe, and then like dodging the rest.
That's wild.
Yeah, some Toho games have those patterns like that.
This is a very uncomfortable pattern.
Yeah, this looks mean.
He almost got hit there. I watched that multiple times. It was like very close to the bullet.
Oh shit.
Unfortunately, we'll take another one. Yeah.
Wait,
so that's
what
the
even hit
shit
him
one.
there?
Yeah, I watched it multiple times. It actually makes sense.
Okay.
So the funny thing is that in this game, and I think in Danmaku Unlimited 3 as well, you can move all the way to the bottom with the hitbox itself. So you can only see like one half of the hitbox. And he went there and a bullet collided with him.
Okay.
So sometimes I agree, some of his deaths are actually like hard to understand when you see them in normal speed. But they do make sense. So unlike the green bubbles, these you cannot go into. These collide.
Oh, these
and do
purple
damage.
ones?
Yeah,
Okay.
these destroy you.
Reminds me a
has
bit
a
of Utsuho from Subterranean Animism. He has some patterns with these like glowy nuclear orbs.
Many Toho bosses or just patterns. Like this is a classic type of bullet in Toho games.
Yeah.
Also the way Pazzy dodges this is very different from how I do it. He goes to the right and then moves down left to dodge. Oh, never mind. Here's the TLB.
Hey, that reminds me of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
Definitely shades of DOJ Hibachi here.
So, want to hear something funny about this boss?
Yes.
Remember how I said that the amount of score you get from hurting bosses is not all that significant? That is not true for this one. Now try no missing this one.
Yeah, this looks scary. Especially since it goes down.
So if you no miss all the way to this boss, there's actually a lot of scoring potential here. However, I have like actually getting all the score you can get here seems crazy to me, because the game does not actually have an in-game like function of allowing you to beat this or train this TLB. So this boss you cannot play in training.
So the only way to get to this is to play through the whole game?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
So I know I want to optimize my run sometime in the future, but this might not be the part that I want to optimize. At least not first. Unless I can make use of the static nature of the game and figure out a way to dodge even the part where he moves down.
Yeah, the part where he moves down is really scary looking.
Yeah, that's where you usually just die.
So I've noticed Pazzy here. Is he down to 1 stock or 0 stock? Oh, okay. So that was
now he's
stock.
down to 0.
Now he's down to 0. Okay.
Yeah, so this Truless boss is actually like dangerous compared to much of the rest of the game.
Yeah. Now, is this also static?
I would believe so, yes, just based on my experience with the rest of the game.
Interesting.
Of course, I have only like fought this boss like 2 or 3 times.
Damn, dude.
In total.
That was intense.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, so that was the game.
It felt shorter than it actually was. It's pretty cool. Like the pacing was nice. I like that.
Yeah, it keeps itself going, and the music's really pumping.
Yeah,
like
the music
it really gives it a sense of drive and energy, which is pretty cool. I have to say, like from visuals alone, this game doesn't do much for me, but the pattern design and the music actually are making it much more interesting than I would have expected. So I may have to give this a look.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was Pazzy's Extreme Classic 1cc run there. Very nice. GG there. From 2014. And the next run is from Elva here, who is gonna show us the burst mode, and we'll get into the differences on that. But this one's 76 trillion instead of 1 trillion, so some more score being had there.
Yeah, to be fair,
76 times higher.
To be fair, I think the potential of extreme classic scoring is lower than burst scoring. There's multiple reasons for that. For some reason, it doesn't seem like very fair to the classic mode, the scoring differences.
Okay.
Which is weird, because you'd think it would be the other way around, with it being kind of harder, in my opinion. But yeah.
Okay, and then so you did this run on the June 27th, 2020 of this year. And
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the same month where I also got my first 1 trillion 3 years ago. Which is
that's very cool.
Total coincidence, but once I realized it felt kind of good.
And yes, and this is the world record scoring run as far as you're aware as well.
Yeah. There's a Steam leaderboard as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no option to submit your score. It does it automatically for you.
Okay.
I know some other games on Steam have issues with like cheated scores on the leaderboards. Is that a problem with this game that you've noticed?
Yeah, all the ones like 5. Like, I'm on the 6th position, but all the other ones above are like, yeah, they're not. They cannot be real.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
they're almost 2 quadrillion, which I would not know how it would be possible. It's actually funny because you can see how the game always shows like 16 digits.
Yeah.
I asked Sunny Tam about that, and he said that adding that 16th digit is mostly a design choice. or maybe a failsafe in case someone did manage to score that high. So I will only reach how many digits? 14 digits.
14, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is still insane, but yeah.
I right now I do not see how quadrillion would be possible, especially since there is a cap on the point value.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, well, are there any like differences you want to talk about with burst mode before we get into the run, or should we just go for it?
It'll be noticeable, so yeah. I think we should just go into it. I don't know anything that I would like to point out like right away.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm queued up on my end.
All right, same here from 0. All right, let's check it out. Here's Alva's run here, world record run of the burst mode. All right, 3.
Oh, hang on. I forgot to open it.
No problem.
All right.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. So my setup is straight up 2 focus and 2 wide, no defensive. I don't need shields. Yeah, no,
Wow.
because I want to no miss, and once I get hit, the scoring is over anyway.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So I keep these alive to graze.
Oh yeah, there's the graze.
Yeah, then that trance gauge goes up real quick and you graze too. I don't think we mentioned that, but it's pretty obvious there.
Yeah. All right. I didn't mention. There's actually another difference right there, right away, which is that the Trance Gauge has multiple ways to charge in Classic and Burst. You charge it by just merely destroying enemies, hitting bosses, and grazing. On Classic, there's an exclusive method is to just wait, because it will automatically recharge. In Burst, that does not happen. So pretty much the recharging progress is a bit slower in Burst mode than it is in Classic, which makes sense because you do have the Burst. So the Burst is charged up at the extra guard gauge that wasn't there the last time, on the right side of the shield.
Okay. That's the laser thing? Yeah.
Yeah, you charge that by collecting orbs. Collecting orbs happens by either grazing, canceling bullets like that by defeating a mid-boss, or by point-blanking enemies. So now you do not get the crystals anymore by point-blanking enemies. You get the orbs, which allow you to then cancel the bullets that will then turn into the crystals.
So it's a similar, like, you still want to be point blanking for similar reasons, but it's an indirect process.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since you don't have to point blank in order to get orbs, it also doesn't force you to be aggressive as much as it would on Classic.
Yeah, and I imagine since you can cancel bullets into the multiplier chips or whatever they're called, the crystals, then you can probably set it up so that it's more optimal in terms of the number of them you're collecting at a time. Like you can end up with a higher multiplier over the course of the stage.
Yeah, and here's another extra thing that makes no sense to me. If you use Trance, your stage multiplier will be multiplied by 4. It makes no sense to me why that would be Burst exclusive and not a thing in Classic. Like it already kind of ruins the scaling of the scoring in between those two.
Is that multiplier then also multiplied by the Trance multiplier? Or is the Trance multiplier behaving differently in this mode compared to in Classic?
The Trance multiplier is the same. However, you only take over, get the fraction of the base value of the stage multiplier.
Okay. Okay, so it doesn't take the elevated value and then, take a quarter of that. Okay. But I mean, you're still effectively scoring at 4 times the rate then, right?
During active scoring, yes, which will mostly happen anyway during trance, because that's where also your point value is like much higher. So yeah, there's a lot of exponential stuff. There's a lot of factors that make this very exponential scoring, where not being in trance, you just barely get any score if you're not in trance. Of course, this is different on lower difficulties, where you actually don't get as much TM, trance multiplier, because I think I noted down the percentage of how much you get. It's 25% for extreme, and then it's only 12.5% for hard.
Oh, okay.
For normal, it's, what is this? Hang on, 0.05, or rather 7. What am I talking about? 7.5%, and on easy it's 5%. Now on the lower difficulties, you also get a lot less bullets, so your stage multiplier will already be much lower anyway. Then you also get less, take over less of that onto the following stages. So yeah,
wow.
There's just a lot less score to be made on the lower difficulties. Now, something I also wanted to mention about the difficulties is that the way difficulty survival-wise works in this game is that the patterns you see right now are pretty much the complete patterns. Now imagine just like being a few of those bullets being gone, and then you have the hard difficulty and so on.
Okay.
So yeah, you pretty much just have to deal with only a part of the full pattern, which you would get in extreme. That's how difficulty works in Danmaku Unlimited 2, and it's also how it works in Danmaku Unlimited 3. That's why I personally would like regard this the extreme difficulty as the normal one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So remember how I said that the trance destroying enemies while in that mode will cancel all the bullets of the enemies you destroy? This doesn't happen in this. However, what will happen is that any enemies you destroy with your burst laser will then cancel all of their own bullets, which also like has a lot of potential for increasing your stage multiplier. However, the thing is that with the nature of how the scoring works, I recently decided that it's actually not good to go for raising the stage multiplier too much on the first few stages. So I'm already not happy with the decisions I made back then in this run. I think it's much better to focus on grazing in the first few stages. That's because since you have two factors that multiply each other into the full point value, you want the distribution of those to be as equal as possible in order to get the most out of it. So there's going to be, if I want to optimize my routing on this game, I will have to do a lot of maths.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, pattern does not look fun.
It's not bad. Oh, well, actually it is kind of bad. I lost 2 runs on this. Oh yeah, of course, this patterns
I like that movement
are,
with the burst laser.
Patterns like this are, of course, made to be cancelled. This is pretty much what it's designed for. Also, the golden stars, which didn't have much scoring functionality in the classic mode, in burst mode, they actually charge your burst laser.
Ah.
So you can then use your trance in order to you pretty much immediately get another burst laser most of the time once you just initiate it. So that goes into each other very well. It's good also to use the trance in order to just get the laser so that you can then increase the stage multiplier further. So yeah. This part is a bit scary with the way I do it, because for training, you always start at 0 trance. So I kind of routed this so that I could immediately charge it to 100.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kind of had to do a little bit of grazing at the start. That would also sometimes fail because I ran into one bullet that was not like, there's always that one bullet that will sometimes ruin that streaming at the start.
Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate that the training doesn't have settings to adjust what your transmitter is.
Yeah, or just any scoring factors, so I could know what the actual score would be that I get.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate oversight.
Yeah, I had to like, my original like estimation of the score I would get was 100 trillion for the route that I took, and I did not reach that. Of course, my routing was my execution on stage 5 is also not that good sometimes. And yeah, I did realize while watching Pazzy's run that I actually missed out on a very good opportunity to get even more score. And these lines I haven't mentioned yet, but those 2 lines of bullets that like are aimed towards you, the left line of those is like directly aimed at you. So don't bother trying to go in between those.
That's cute.
Just dodge to the left.
Yeah.
Here's another like very specific thing. You see this big enemy? Some of these large ships, usually what happens if you use a burst laser on enemies, it will cancel all of their bullets into crystals. However, there's one exception, which is those major ships, where if you are in trance and use a burst to cancel them, it will instead cancel them into golden stars, which is what destroying which is what happens if you also destroy major ships just with trance. So with that particular case, the trance does override the burst. But that's only for those types of enemies. For all others, you can use a trance and a burst, and you will get the crystals instead of the golden stars. So that is something you want to watch out for when routing.
Okay. There's a question from Lanisar. What's the smaller circle around your ship? Is that just like a leftover graphic from the mobile port, or is that indicating something?
I don't know.
Okay.
What I do know is that the bigger circle is a good way to kind of estimate how if you're close enough to enemies in order to get the point blank, what's considered point blanking for the items. Yeah, but I've noticed nothing in particular about
I see what you're saying about the hexagon hitbox. How it looks like you're gonna get hit by them, but you're totally fine there.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna see it in like the next pattern after this one. This one is another good opportunity to get a bit of stage multiplier.
Ooh yeah. Nice burst laser cancel there, just boom.
Yeah, so this.
Oh man, this reminds me so much of the baby mode dodge for the section in Ikaruga Stage 3 where there's like enemies from top and bottom, and you can line yourself up just right between them where their hitboxes don't hit you. It's like it's exactly the same idea. This is really cute. So would it be worth trying to do any cancels during this pattern, or is this just like the optimal way to do this for sure? It seems like you're not even here, or are you, and it's just not visible?
You actually shouldn't try to go too much to the left, because the bullets still, like, for a second, they will be there before getting cancelled. So you don't want to move too much to the left or the right. And what that means is that you will be doing damage with the burst laser, which is actually something you kind of want to avoid, because anytime you shoot, remember, anytime you shoot the boss, you get trance meter. This
Right.
does not count for using a burst on it.
Okay.
Another thing that I already tested, so I want to confirm it in case someone asks, is that it does not matter how many shots hit the boss. It really does matter how much damage you deal. So the white shots, which are weaker, way weaker, will attacking the boss slowly will not net you more trance meter or more points than just hitting him with full power.
Okay.
So, was there anything I was going to mention?
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
To think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, initiating the trance also, just in case it wasn't clear yet, does cancel the bullets around you into golden stars rather than multiplier crystals. So that's just not that's not a way to get more stage multiplier.
I was gonna say, it seems kind of crazy to me, like how geometric the scoring is in this game, because you only have 425 billion right now, and yet by the end of the next stage, you're gonna have what, like 150 times this score?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I don't know the word you used, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just looking at your like you have 440 billion or something right now.
Yeah. So what I really want to change in my routing is that I want to have more grace, because I think at this point it would be way better. Like my trance value would probably be a lot higher if I graced more rather than canceling, in order to have that good distribution going. All right, this is like we're almost hitting the pattern that I'm using, where I'm abusing the static nature of the game. So what I do here is I go to the bottom left, move slightly to the right, and then I move to the left, and that's all I do for this.
Cool.
Oh man, that looks so scary. Just like seeing you do that without the knowledge that it's a safe spot. That just looks so crazy.
The funny thing about that is it's satisfying every time when you're playing with the stick. That movement to the left after a certain bullet passes, and then just staying put. It's one of the most satisfying parts for me for some specific odd reason.
Yeah, those kind of movements, like those. Okay, I'm just totally breaking this pattern in a way it's not supposed to be done. Like that kind of stuff's always super fun. Like the Mushi Ultra stage 1 safe spot, like right in the middle of the pattern. That kind of stuff. It's so good.
Yeah.
Did you find that safe spot yourself, or is that just something you've seen before?
I pretty much brute forced my way to finding this because the pattern annoyed me so much. What I did is. Oh yeah, this isn't something I've mentioned yet, but bosses do not time out in this game. What they instead do is that once the counter runs down to 0, your stage multiplier will decrease.
Oh.
And you will not gain any grace or any trance. But the good thing about that is it actually provides you a good way to like train the pattern properly. Because you can just stay in that pattern forever, and if you just like play with all the defensive stuff, then that's how I pretty much eventually found the way to deal with that. But that was really the only pattern where that was absolutely necessary for me, because anything else that I tried didn't work. Not consistently, at least. Yeah, so as you can see, I can just like immediately destroy those, so I don't even have to use them as shields, the hexagons. I just immediately destroy the dangerous enemy. But I was gonna start something. Yeah, my routing in the future hopefully will be very different, where I graze a lot more and can actually already, like, I'm I think I'm gonna have like 1 trillion once I exit this stage. But I think you can probably get a lot more. You just have to be aggressive with the enemies and making use of the proximity multiplier. And if you have a decent, like maybe even the maxed point value already, you should get a good amount there as well. This is where I mess up. This is like the pattern that I meant, where I totally messed up my routing, because for some reason I didn't use the trance in order to charge my burst again. You pretty much need the burst in order to survive the pattern. That pattern.
Yeah, that looks scary.
I lucked out. That was pure luck. Helped me there. I think I was just nervous. This looks scary, but it's doable. You get a feeling for this.
Yeah, I think if you were lower on the screen, that would be a really scary pattern. But I noticed both you and Pazzy stay kind of midway up.
Yeah.
And it just makes a little path for you to follow.
This is another pattern where I don't want bullets to be too long on the screen because of those balls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them. Get rid of them. Once your trance ends, all bullets will be cancelled as well. So that's good.
Okay. So what are you waiting for here? Just a good cancel opportunity? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in order to get more orbs. Because I do want to have them for this pattern.
Yeah, I can see why.
Where it's easy to not like do it perfectly, because it's easy to mess this up, and I actually like just use a planned burst there. Of course, in Classic that won't be viable. And I probably will score that mode eventually as well. So what my routing is for this is I usually use a burst, and then I go closer to charge another one, because being close to the enemy will have you charge it. I don't know if I go for that. I don't think so. I just use the trance, I think. Yeah. I'm about to make a big mistake here as well. Or rather, a mistake that could have cost me the run. Which is I use another laser as soon as it ends, and then I have nothing left to defend myself.
You made it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really scary, but yeah.
It's not how it's supposed to go, but it worked.
So was there a benefit to bursting while the trance is going on? I wasn't sure.
No, I don't know why I did that.
Okay, because I saw you did do that. You kind of went ham there.
I think I did get like more nervous on stage 4, because the very funny thing about this run is that it's the first one where I got past stage 3.
No miss.
Yeah, I had practiced stage 4 and 5 so many times, but not the first 3 ones, that it actually took. I spent much more time on the first 3 just getting past them.
So you took like a little break there, like, oh fuck, you fucking did it.
No, I was actually chatting with someone in the Twitch. Someone was watching.
Cool. Still though, good job.
Oh, there you go. There's that counter stop point value.
Oh yeah. This is now
cool.
10 million minus 1. So this is pretty much where you can start scoring properly. Probably before then as well. If you like, you can probably milk bosses a lot. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out a lot on how to optimize, and I still don't have enough data to actually make like proper decisions on a lot of stuff. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more testing and practicing and just experimenting.
Very cool.
It's possible to do this without having to resort to using a trance. That was scary.
Yeah.
Squeaky.
And yeah, due to all the aimed patterns, I ended up using a trance, which honestly is kind of planned. I don't regret using it, but yeah, this is where I could have actually gotten a lot of popcorn enemies to charge at me, which would have been ideal for getting a lot of points because of the proximity multiplier. Another thing that happens here is that my laser got stuck on the big bosses, the big enemies there.
I saw that.
So I couldn't even like properly cancel ahead. So this was a bit scary, but a lot of this is still my usual route, which works really well with minor hiccups that do cost me a little bit of stage multiplier. 200 is kind of the unexpected one though, but I could have gotten more.
Okay.
So this is the boss that has a very, very fast pattern that you want to just use your laser on. So I use the trance to deal more damage. And then, yeah, this is I don't know why this pattern exists, but it does.
Dang.
And yeah, now you can just sleep.
So, from non-dodgeable pattern to pattern you don't have to do anything for.
Yeah, it's weird when stuff like that happens. I'm actually like in the middle of chatting again, and I think I wrote a message along the lines of, yeah, this is where the fun begins, because this is where the fun, because this is where the fun begins, because we will now have a lot of popcorn approaching.
Yeah, I wanna see this score.
I'm using a laser.
Number go up.
Jeez.
I was using the laser because the wide shot would have probably made a lot of these enemies die while too far away. So I used the laser so that only the enemies that are very close would die.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But despite that disadvantage, I still need the wide shot for later.
So this is crazy. Like, you're just trying to build up trance as fast as possible and then cash it out on the big popcorn rushes, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is great.
So this is actually where I could point out what the formula is and why the popcorn rushes are the best part of the scoring. I can just so every enemy has like a base value, and what the point value does. A lot of popcorn enemies at the stage 1, for example, have just a base value of 100. Then what your point value does is that it just adds the point value to the base value. And what happens afterwards is that value gets multiplied by the stage multiplier and the proximity multiplier. And that will eventually reach a very high amount just per popcorn enemy. And I have also confirmed that the displayed max amount of 10 million minus 1 is really the cap. It's not just a display cap. It really is the maximum amount you get.
Okay.
So we're still at 20 trillion, which isn't a lot.
The music made me think of Star Wars music for a second. I was like, fuck.
This is the painful part of routing this, is that I cannot see how close I am to the enemies and if my routing is optimized for this.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on screen right now.
Also, this major enemy kills many attempts just in training mode, because sometimes I do not kill it fast enough. Oh,
that
50
movement
trillion,
just right
60
between
trillion.
those. Oh my god.
That's the sole reason why I use the wide shot. Just that bit.
That's great. I love it. Use a wide shot for that one moment.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, just for those 10 seconds.
But I mean, in those 10 seconds, you made what, 35 trillion?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
God. So, 50% of your score comes from using the right shot type in this one exact moment. That's great.
Yeah.
That just shits on Mushi Maniac right there.
One could say that the scoring is broken. I think it's just fun.
Well, you got a big reward and it's paying off, so that's always good.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of the game long chain sort of design philosophy, right? You have to play the whole game incredibly well in a game like Duange or even a lot of other arcade games that use game long chaining, there's some light gun games that do that, for example. But it's then if you get to that point where you've done that, then the last stage is just hell yeah, points time, you get that reward for otherwise playing really well. And I think there's an argument to be made that that's a really brutal design decision, but I think it can also be really satisfying.
It's taste.
I mean, it's not like you're not scoring in the beginning of the game. You're just setting it all up and getting to the point. So it's like so it's at least like you know, with something like this, it's like you are still get better and whatnot at the beginning parts, and then see the rewards later on. So
yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so we're about to hit the funny panic moment that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
The reason it happened is because the boss is moving from the left to the middle to the right. For some reason, I thought, For some reason, I thought it was about to crush into me, even though it came from the left and then to the middle, so it wouldn't have even come close to me. But I panicked and barely survived. But this isn't the last meme.
It's always easy
There's
to get
another
like
one.
one step ahead of yourself sometimes.
There will be another one on
When
this
you-
pattern.
When you get like fixated on what you need to do.
This is like, yeah.
Oh shit. Crisscross applesauce again. The music just goes ham, dude.
The funny thing about this is like, this is where I use a planned burst, because the way it moves from the left and to the right, because I spend a lot of time to the right of the boss, the Doppler effect will then make it less like
Yeah.
consistently dodgeable. So I use a laser there. This pattern is scary to dodge
Yeah, this
in
looks
long term.
this looks hard.
Of course, you can get a lot of grace, which would kind of save your scoring if you don't have any points. So this kind of looks like a pattern that would like repair some. Oh yeah, another thing. Remember how I said that you cannot cancel the bullets that spawn more bullets? That's like the property of a specific type of bullet in this game. You can cancel them in burst by being very close to them upon initiating the burst. For some reason, you have to be that close while bursting in order to cancel them. Merely touching the projectiles with the laser does not cancel them. It's weird. So this is what I do differently, where I just stay at the bottom left rather than the bottom right and dodge like this. The bubbles work in the way that the way they move first is not the way they will move later. So if they move to the left, they will then proceed to move to the right. So that makes it memorable.
Yeah, I can see that. I think this pattern would drive me crazy at first.
All right, funny true last boss.
Funny.
So what I do immediately is I just use my trance to score. I do not use it for survival purposes. I just immediately started, and I just got another 5 trillion.
Wow. Yeah.
But now I got hit, so it's all over.
Yeah, good thing you did that then.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why you'd want to cash that out right away.
Oh shit. Flying all around with the spread pattern.
Oh, that was such nice dodging until the very end there.
Yeah, well, this run won't go much longer.
Oh.
Jeez.
Oh. Well, what a run. I mean, congratulations. And it's really interesting to hear how you talk about how much more optimization room there is in this. You know, you have the world record by what I would imagine is a pretty comfortable margin, right? Like what, like 9-10 trillion, something like that?
9 trillion. But as you can see, like small changes will have a lot of impact.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great
I guess
run.
I'm just really, so, you know, are you planning to continue to push higher? And like, do you have a goal in mind? Are you aiming for that 100 trillion? Or is there something?
I definitely want the 100 trillion, but I think there's more potential. I just don't know how much. Like, I genuinely have no idea how much you can score. And that's pretty much what drove me, like, kind of insane the previous 3 months, years after playing the game initially, that I had no idea how much you can actually score if you do it well. Because people haven't really done it yet.
It's It's always cool when they have like these robust scoring systems that just have like a lot of experimentation. Then
it certainly seems like there's a ton of different sort of sliders to tweak here. Try to figure out what the most optimal combination of things is for getting that super high score.
Yeah.
Definitely similar to like Toho with all the different systems they usually have in there. I imagine you kind of feel at home with the different factors that go in there and messing around with the grays and how that all affects everything, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share to kind of close out, or
I am writing my scoring, like the things I find out about the scoring on the Shmups Wiki.
Okay, awesome.
Check that out if you either want to read or maybe contribute.
Nice. I actually wasn't aware of that. I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, it's a in progress project. Still very much work in progress, but there's a number of pages that are up and coming, and a lot of the documentation there it's really like a scoring and mechanically focused wiki. So that's going to be really a cool resource to file all that information.
Yeah, so like, was there a good source of info for you, like when you were learning this, Elva, or did you just have to piece it a lot of it together on your own?
There was one very, very good resource. I would not have known about how to score the TLB, or that the TLB actually provides score, had I not watched InFireX's 10 trillion run, because he actually gets a lot of points during the TLB. And I was very surprised, and then I figured, yeah, let's go in there with a high storage multiplier and then immediately use a trance and survive as long as possible. So yeah, those 5 trillion are thanks to him.
Is that like a special property with the boss, like damaging him with the trance, or is that just because of everything else you had done?
I think it is a special property.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like, the actual mathematical formula, the only formula I'm aware of is how the destroying the enemies works. I don't know how the rest works. Like all the other scoring, I don't know how it works, but it just seems insignificant apart from the TLB and a little bit of the boss scoring. So there's still like experimentation I can do for a lot of stuff. Yeah,
wow. Yeah, pretty deep game as it turns out. Pretty awesome. Not definitely yeah. I didn't give it this much credit at all before we began. So
yeah, same.
Pretty cool. Thanks for coming on and showing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, really glad that we got to see and learn a bit more about this game. It's a lot more interesting to me now than it was an hour ago. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
Feel like you could go on and on too about like some of the systems and different things are kind of going on stage. So, but I think we got a good bit of it there. All right, well that was pretty fun checking out Danmaku Unlimited too with Alva. So yeah, once again, thanks for coming on, and was great for episode 179. And yeah, we did in fact look at the PC version. You can get a DRM free version on their website, or you can go on Steam as well. May or may not have DRM on Steam. but yeah, so check that out. Cheap game too, $5. Yeah, check it out. And multiple difficulties, of course. I know some people watch these videos, and we often have some of the harder difficulties on the show. But yeah, do try the lower difficulties too if it is intimidating, and just whatever easier way in there, and I think you could enjoy it. In any case, thanks everyone for coming by, and this is gonna do it for the episode. So yeah, do have a great rest of the day, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. So yeah, later everyone.
Later.